So welcome to another snowy day in New York City again. We're dealing with the sugya, the issues, the laws of Maaser, and apropos that we're going to give a little bit overview about Tzedka. And we spoke about this yesterday, about where we learn to give Tzedka and so on and so forth. And we need to realize that the reason or the intent of giving tzedakah by itself is to help support our brothers, but not only just support and help our brothers, just here, give a brother $1. We're not talking about that. We're talking about in a respectful manner. Of course, a respectful manner would be, first of all, that he doesn't have to come to you like please, like that. That's a very humiliating experience when you have to schnorr for money. Very humiliating. Therefore, the greatest level of tzedakah is to help a poor person to stand on his feet on his own. That he would not have to come to the state again to beg and so on and so forth. You have no idea, and you should never know the experience of asking for money is, as I said before, very humiliating, and God forbid it could develop tremendous anger for many reasons about everyone. So we don't want to do that, and it's not right. So as it says in Sefer Vayikra in Perek Chafei, "V'chi yamuch achicha umata yado imach ve'echzakta bo." If he's going to fall down, you're going to support him. Ve'echzakta bo, you need to support him. For example, if a person helps a poor person to find a job, any job, if you're a poor person, somebody told me a story about the case that they had where they tried to help a person basically on his feet, and they said to him, "Listen, buddy, instead of living in New York City, move to Lakewood. It's easier for you there, and we'll help you get a job." So he says, "Okay, what kind of a job?" So they told him whatever it was. I don't know, driving trucks or something like this. Started $35,000. He says, "No, I'm not doing it. I'm making more money here in Brooklyn." So he would rather schnorr for money than to go to the Lakewood. We're not talking about that, right? We need to help him, support him, get him a job, and a steady job, or you helping him by teaching him a job, teaching him an occupation, giving him a trade that later on he could learn and earn money on himself, b'chavod, with dignity, and the emphasis on the word dignity. When you do so, you should know that you are fulfilling the mitzvah tzedakah in the best possible way, because it's the most respectful and most effective way to remove the poor person from the cycle of poverty. And that's the problem, and we don't understand that, Baruch Hashem, but that's the problem with many people who are in that cycle of poverty. They can't break away from it. So our job is to help them break away from that cycle by providing him a steady income, which hopefully he'll be able to have to live on a budget, and he'll arrange his budget so he won't get into that as well, and that's quite dangerous on Chas v'Shalom. And when there's no way to help him to stand on his feet by himself and so on and so forth, or because we don't have the money, or maybe we don't have the ability or the resources to find him a job or to teach him a trade, ourselves. Or let's say the poor person is too weak or sick that he can't work. Therefore, the mitzvah is to be mekayem him. In other words, the mitzvah at that point is to really sustain him, to make sure that we cover his needs. And the more we give him, the more respectful he'll be able to live his life. You should look okay, and that's why it's going to be also a good way to give tzedakah. And however, the more you give him tzedakah in a way that humiliates him, the lower the mitzvah is. He's still doing mitzvah, but and you should look at the Shulchan Aruch, as we learned it at night. When we were doing Yoreh De'ah in Siman Resh Mem Tet, from Vav and on to Vav to Yod Gimel, it says all the halachot over there. You can actually look at it again, and you'll understand the level. So the lowest level will be that you know who you give it to, and the one who gets it knows who gave it to him. That's very humiliating. Matan Baseter was a very good thing. And that was something that the Jewish communities were always known for. It's called Matan Baseter. You give, you don't know who you're giving to. The rabbi goes and distributes it to the people as he see fit, and you don't need to know who it is. You don't need to know. Not your business. So in order to fulfill the mitzvah tzedakah, the kehilot used to have what is so-called gabbai tzedakah, a person who is loyal, and we went through this as well, a person who is loyal and is accountable and is responsible to handle this money. And they had a kuppah, they had a stash of money that they used to collect the money for the people, and they would go to the people, those who could give, and says, listen, I need money, you're going to give me money. And they gave money. Today it's not like that. Today we want plaques, and we want ads in public, in the things that they make. They make a dinner for this one. We want ads. We want plaques on the wall. We want to receive gifts and so on and so forth. I don't know, something is wrong with this whole ordeal altogether from its core, and it doesn't seem like anybody is looking to change that. I don't think that we have such small egos, or maybe we do, that we need this great acknowledgement in public, that we need to have everybody knowing, and they put plaques with our pictures, and lichvodam, and so on and so forth. I think this is something is wrong with that. And from this kuppah, from this fund that the Gabbaim used to do, they used to be mefarnes, the poor people of the city, and they would give them the basic needs that they need. Again, it's in Shulchan Aruch in Siman Resh Nun Vav, and that's something that they used to do. Some people, for example, comes the Chagim, they can't afford to buy even the basic need for the Chagim, and there's nothing more difficult from a parent that he cannot provide for his children for the Chag. Nothing more difficult. You feel like a failure. Whether it's your fault or not your fault, but you feel like a failure. And it could cause damage to the kids and so on. So before you, especially now, that's why we collect money for Ma'ot Chitim, that's why we collect money for Purim, for Matanot La'Evyonim. So they could feel also that they are part of Am Yisrael. So when you sit on your Leila Seder, indulging on stuffed geese or whatever it is that you eat over there, think about the person that doesn't have it. So instead of having stuffed ducks and geese and veal and lamb and so on and so forth, you know what? Have less, have half of it, because the garbage is about 90% of it, and then share it with somebody else. Just give it. If you have a lot of money to give, and you want a tax deduction, so make yourself an irrevocable trust or some kind of a trust. So I'm not an accountant, so speak to one. But you put your money there, and that money gets distributed to poor people. And it's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing. Now, let's just go into the next section quickly, and that was how much we need to help. How much do you need to help? So the question will be, who is a person? How can you determine the person in which needs to receive that tzedakah? And is this something that depends on the personal feeling of the person who's asking, or that there are certain rules to that for us to determine who needs it? So the answer is, as a general rule, a poor person, an ani, is a person that does not have or possesses the ability to buy the most basic things that by most of us are considered to be basic in the population that he lives by. So, for example, let's say, in China, if you don't have rice, that's a poor person. In America, if you don't have rice, you can eat pasta, you can eat this, So whatever in our society is considered to be basic, the lack of ability of a person to provide to himself and his family, that kind of a person is considered to be poor. Basic needs. We're not talking about I haven't gone on vacation for 20 years. I'm not talking about, I didn't buy new pants in a year. We're not talking about, that's not a poor person. Poor person is a person who cannot provide food and shelter for his family. Basic food and shelter. Again, I'm not talking about cowboy steaks every Tuesday and Thursday. We're talking about basic food, staple food. However, there's some unique cases that there is also a personal poverty of a person that was very used to life of luxury and so on and so forth, and became poor, and it's very difficult for him to get used to his new state, a new situation that he lives in, and the mitzvah is to help him in a certain time to continue maintaining his routine in life until he's going to get used to his new position. I mean, we're not supposed, let's say for example, the guy is a millionaire and all of a sudden he's not. We're not here to provide him forever and ever with the life that he used to have. However, we should help him to transition himself into the new situation as much as we can, because we are concerned also with his own well-being, mental well-being as well. So that's something we need to take into account. Now, you can't say, well, you know what, when he was a millionaire, I didn't see him giving any money to this, I didn't see any money to that, why should I give him now? Let him get used to it. He lived just like me. No, you have to understand the psyche, the mental issue behind it. And then, okay, so you help him out, and then he gets used to it. Slowly get used to it, and hopefully he'll come out of it. But that's something you need to take into consideration as well. Right? So let's stop here. However, it says, that's what it says in Sefer Dvarim, Ki yeh becha Etzion, right? If there's going to be a person with you, lo te'ametz et levavcha, don't toughen your heart, velo tikpotz et yadcha mi'achicha Etzion, don't make a fist, or don't be stingy from your poor brother, כי פתוח תפתח לו את ידך, די מחסרו אשר יחסר לו. Whatever he needs. וחכמים said on that, אם היה עשיר שהיה רגיל לצאת כשהוא רכוב על סוס, if he was so wealthy that he used to have a horse and then somebody running in front of him, וירד בנכסיו, and in other words, if he had a car and he had a chauffeur and he became poor, נותנים לו סוס ועבד, we provide him with a horse and a person. So we give him a chauffeur and somebody to drive him around for a while. אמרו עליו על הלל הזקן, they said on הלל הזקן, שלקח לעני בן טובים אחד, he took one person who was a wealthy guy, he took him a horse to ride on, and somebody to run in front of him, like a chauffeur. פעם אחת לא מצא עבד לרוץ לפניו, so one time he didn't find somebody to drive this Miss Daisy around, so he himself ran 3 milin in front of him to just fulfill that, so he can do so. You look in Masechet Brachot, it says in Masechet Ketubot in Daf Samech Zayin Amud Bet. And so is, if he was used to dress up with the fancy clothes and to eat fancy food, נותנים לו. We give it to him. שנאמר, because it says, אשר יחסר לו. לפי עניותו ורגילותו, according to what he was, and according to what he was used to. שאם היה עשיר והתרגל לחיי פאר, if he was rich and he got used to this kind of life, ורווחה וירד בנכסיו, right? He's going to suffer so much. If he was so rich, he's going to suffer so much, and then maybe he's going to die out of a heartache, or maybe he'll commit suicide, and so on and so forth. So that's something that we need to take into account as well. Charity is not necessarily just giving money and so on and so forth. We always have to look also at the mental effect of things and to be considerate of that. In other words, you have to be a very sensitive and caring person. And by giving tzedakah, that will help you transform yourself into be a more caring and sensitive person. And the Torah tells you, don't toughen your heart. In other words, be sensitive. What he was, a year ago, if he was a billionaire a year ago, is none of our concern. Right now, we have a person who is in distress. Right now, we have a person who is suffering. How are we going to help him transition into normal life from this point on, if we're not going to be there for him? So we got to help him as much as we can. We got to help him as much as we can to make it better, because the ability also to break away from the cycle of poverty depends a lot on the mental integrity of a person. And we are responsible of that. So what he was before is really not of our concern. We have to judge on what is in front of us right now. The past does not exist. The future does not exist. What it is only the now and the here and now. And right now I have a person in need, and therefore my obligation is to help him. Ultimately, it's also for my benefit. Have a good day.